The gang leader is about to smash a rock into Curly's head, and his only chance of survival is for his partner, Martin, to kick a can off the ground with a soccer ball, precisely striking the deadly rock in midair. If they miss, both will be crushed to death on the spot. And it all started when they ruined an underground dogfight. The scene shifts to just hours earlier. Two poor kids from the slums, Martin and Curly, were hoping to make their fortune through a bloody dogfight. They sent their beloved dogs into the arena, dreaming of winning a fortune that would change their lives. However, reality delivered a harsh slap in the face. Their dogs were clearly sabotaged in the ring, their fighting ability plummeted, and they were ultimately bitten to death by their opponents. Seeing their sure win slip away, the two tried to confront the organizers, but several burly men pressed the muzzles of guns against their heads. The bookmaker not only vehemently denied cheating but also humiliated them by throwing them out like trash. Even more devastating was the fact that the fighting dog they'd borrowed from Dolly, the most ruthless gangster in the area, was now dead, meaning they owed Dolly a staggering 20,000 reais. For these two poor boys who couldn't even afford food, 20 reais was a death sentence. Curly was terrified. He knew Dolly's methods all too well. If they couldn't repay the debt, Dolly's men would definitely chop them up and feed them to the fish. Just as the two were weeping bitterly, feeling their lives had reached their end, Curly suddenly clung to a lifeline. Remembering a football tournament in town next week with a prize of 50,000 reais, he knew Martin had shown incredible football talent from a young age. This was practically their only chance to survive. He grabbed Martin's arm tightly, pleading with him to participate. However, Martin's face was ashen, worse than a dead dog. It wasn't that he didn't want to save himself and his brother's lives. It was that he had someone more terrifying than the mob boss, his own father. It turned out that Martin's father was an extremely stubborn and short-tempered man who viewed football as a monstrous threat and strictly forbade Martin from anything related to it. In his father's eyes, playing football was a waste of time, something only street thugs did. If discovered, the consequences would be unimaginable. Caught between the mob that could come at any moment and his father, who was even more terrifying than the mob, Martin was instantly caught in a hopeless dilemma. But Curly's words brought him to his senses. Your dad might beat you half to death, but Dolly really will kill us. To survive, Martin had no choice but to risk everything. The next day, he used the excuse of studying with Curly to secretly attend a professional football team's selection trials. He watched the players sweating profusely on the field, his eyes filled with longing. He mustered all the courage he had ever mustered and told the roaring coach on the sidelines that he wanted to participate in the selection trials. But the coach merely glanced at him contemptuously from head to toe, looking at his thin, bean sprout-like frame, and impatiently waved him away, telling him to go home and do his homework. The other players joined in the jeering, mocking this immature kid for daring to dream of playing for a professional team. Martin was filled with resentment and humiliation. He could clearly play better than anyone else on the field, so why didn't he even have a chance to prove himself? Just as Martin was about to leave the field dejectedly, a tall man called out to him. It was the team's star player, Carlos. He had witnessed Martin's seemingly casual ball control on the sidelines. That effortless ball control was something extraordinary. He saw the astonishing talent hidden within this boy. Without further ado, he asked Martin directly what else he could do besides ball control. Suppressing his excitement, Martin confidently replied that he could do a little bit of everything. Carlos then asked about his stamina, and Martin puffed out his chest, saying it was great. Carlos smiled. He liked the light in the boy's eyes. With a wave of his hand, ignoring the coach's objections, he directly assigned Martin to the left forward position, giving him a valuable opportunity. However, fate's cruel joke had only just begun. Before Martin could prove himself on the field, Dolly's henchmen, like sharks smelling blood, came knocking. The two were roughly shoved into a car and taken to the ruthless mob boss, Dolly. Looking at the two trembling brats before him, Dolly's face remained expressionless, as if he were looking at two lambs to the slaughter. His underlings even grinned and suggested, why not just kill them and sell their organs instead of asking for money? A healthy liver can sell for 8,000. The two boys would just be enough to make a little extra. Hearing this, Curly completely broke down. He suddenly knelt on the ground, incoherently shouting that Martin was a football genius who could win 50,000 yuan to pay off his debts. Dolly, hearing this, showed interest for the first time, a cruel smile creeping onto his lips. Is that so? A football genius? So confident? Then let me test whether your friend is really worth 20,000 yuan. And so, the breathtaking scene described at the beginning unfolded. Curly was pinned to the ground by two burly men, unable to move. Dolly's henchman picked up a sharp rock and sneered at Martin. See that can? I'm going to throw this rock at your friend's head. You have to kick that can with a football, knocking the rock away in midair. Remember, it's the can hitting the rock, not the ball hitting the rock. If you hit it, your debt is wiped clean. If you miss, I'll send you 2 brothers to your graves. This was utterly absurd. Using a light, flimsy aluminum can to smash through a heavy rock, capable of crushing a head. This is an impossible task. Defying the laws of physics. What terrifying footwork and calculation ability would that require? Dolly's men had already begun the countdown. 3, 2. Before the words were even finished, the deadly rock was hurled, tracing a fatal arc through the air, whistling towards Curly's temple. In that split second, Martin's eyes turned bloodshot. The whole world seemed to freeze. His vision focused only on the flying rock and the soccer ball on the ground. He took a deep breath, mustered all his strength, and unleashed a powerful kick towards the soccer ball. The soccer ball shot out like a white lightning bolt, striking the aluminum can precisely. The can instantly deformed, spinning as it hurtled towards the rock in midair. Could Martin pull off a miracle, saving 2 lives with this impossible kick?